The Headless Horseman, part Easter egg, and part legend. This strange translucent rider has long been the topic of much discussion and speculation within the Skyrim community. What is it? Who is it? Why are they here? Is it indeed the work of gypsies? These are questions that, if you have ever happened across this strange ghost, have no doubt crossed your mind. Well, today, I will try and address some of these concerns in regards to both the roots of the Headless Riders, the most obvious story that comes to mind, and the individual themselves. The legend of Headless Riders has been around for centuries. In Celtic folklore, the most common one is the Dullahan, a headless furry that causes a death when they come to rest. In Germanic folklore, the Brothers Grimm makes mention of several accounts of Headless Riders. However, it is Washington Irvine's novel, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, that has popularized the myth, and is the most well known as a result. The novel tells the story of Ichabod Crane, a schoolteacher, who arrives at the town of Sleepy Hollow. Here he hears the tale of a decapitated Hessian soldier, who now roams the woods of Sleepy Hollow. Now the final fate of Ichabod is left up to the reader, as is whatever the writer is actually the Hessian soldier, or some guy Ichabod frigged over to marry some woman. Now, given that the Headless Horseman shares more things in common with this particular American legend, we will be continuing forward on the assumption that it is based on it. So now on to the see-through snake in the grass. The Headless Horseman will spawn at random points in the world between the hours of 10 PM and 4 AM. At this point, the entity/ghost will make their way to Hamvir's Rest, whereupon they will either sit around until the sun comes up and then depart like a silent shart, or they'll bug out and sit there for an indeterminate amount of time. I've seen people stating weeks have passed before the horseman's left, just sitting there on his horse, contemplating life and loitering. Yeah. So why Hamvir's Rest? Well, it actually echoes the legend of Sleepy Hollow. The horseman always returned to Sleepy Hollow before the sun came up. In this case, the horseman always either despawns once they reach Hamvir's Rest, or they disappear if they have not reached it by the time morning comes. Now a bit on the looks. The horseman, oddly enough, has no head at all. Clues in the name. They wear steel plate armor and wield a battle axe on their back. They are recognized as a ghost by the game and as such are completely immune to all forms of attack, and will not attack anyone in turn. They ride a translucent horse, the kind that looks a bit touched in the head if you ask me. The horse is also completely immune to damage and has infinite stamina, so if you were looking for a decent ride, the horse might be the perfect answer. On occasion he will be spawned off his horse, which will continue on the path to Hamvir's Rest. They will then run to catch up their horse. There is no significance to this, I just find it funny to watch him fail to catch the horse. The horseman does, however, on occasion, speak. Now since this individual is so rare and getting all these quotes so unlikely, you'll have to take my word for it. I have linked a video in the description if you want to hear it. Finality. This is said whenever anything near him dies or is killed. Such an abrupt end to our game. This is said anytime it is being followed and if you kill something that was following it. So it may see this as a bit of sport to reach Hamvir's Rest while being chased, which does not make much sense given the whole invulnerability thing. Who dares disturb my rest is spoken when you first encounter it, so it may not be completely aware that it is not inside Hamvir's Rest. You are not welcome here, said when you enter Hamvir's Rest. A pretty standard get the fuck out if I have ever heard one. You will join the dead, only said when you're in combat in close proximity to the horseman. All the living shall fear the dead. This one is the last one that I know of and is only spoken when you're locked in combat with the undead found in Hamvir's Rest. But why Hamvir's Rest? I mean, I suppose as graveyards/crypts go, it's not too bad. But why return to it each night? What possible ties could the horseman have to this graveyard? Are they buried here, or was this a destination that in life they never managed to reach? Well yes, that might actually have been the case. And that leads us to the speculated identity of the Headless Horseman. Another individual spoken of in myth, and retold in songs and ballads. Now for those of you who do know who I'm talking about, give me a chance to explain why I do think it's him. For those of you who do not, listen up to the ballad of Ragnar the Red.
Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding to Whiterun from old Warwickstead. And the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of bold battles and gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink, I'll army now. I think it's high time that you lie down And so then came clashing and slashing of steel, as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal. And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more, when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor.
So it seems that Ragnar the Red was an old hero, though the way he is described he sounds like a fucking arsehole. He seems to have met a woman called Shield Maiden Matilda, and based on the ballad, it seems to have occurred in or around a bar or tavern of some description. They started to battle, and she cut off his head. So right there is the first similarity that they're both missing their heads. The second isn't so much a similarity so much an observation. Ragnar was riding from Whiterun to Rorikstead. It never says he got there. We then infer that he was killed sometime between Rorikstead and Whiterun. What else lies between Rorikstead and Whiterun? Hamvir's Rest. I think that after he was beheaded, his body was buried there. Then, every night, he sets out to restart his journey, each time in a different place. But the closest the real body ever got was Hamvir's Rest, so that is where he comes to rest. A skull can also be found in Hamvir's Rest, and it cannot be taken, as well as an axe that looks the same as the one the horseman wields. This may be the head of the Headless Horseman, which could be another motive as to why they return to Hamvir's Rest each night, to reclaim the head that was taken from them in life. The Headless Horseman is indeed one of the odder Easter eggs within Skyrim, due to the amount of lore that exists behind it, both within the game and in real life. As such, it makes for an excellent topic for discussion and speculation. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in explaining this strange individual. If you did, be sure to like and share the video as it helps me grow. I love comments and try to respond to all of them on my 6 most recent videos. So if you have any feedback, please leave it below. If you have a suggestion on something you would like me to see and do in future, leave in the comment section as well. I am active on Facebook and Twitter, so come like and follow if you want to keep up to date or have a wee chat. For more in-depth stuff, go to my subreddit, which is linked in the description. It's barren as fuck at the moment, but I would love to change that. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope I will see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.